بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن All praise be to Allah. May the best of peace and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very happy to be with you. I'm Amr Dabour, coming from Panama City to dive with you. Probably be able to swim. I like diving anyway. In the ocean of Asma'ullah al-Husna. Hopefully you can cover as much as possible. If not all of them, then at least we do what we can, inshallah. Because the plan is to go over Asma'ullah al-Husna, the beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and try to understand, and try to reflect and contemplate as much as possible. So I'm focusing on understanding and giving not that many details, but trying to go over them in detail, so we understand the meaning of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And let's start, inshallah, with that. We have a slideshow here. Is that clear enough? Okay. Can we turn off at least the front light in here? All the way.
I think these lights up here, they control.
Okay.
You can turn on the lights in the back. Yeah. The other one as well. Well, talking about the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who told us about these names, and He ordered us in the Quran to call Him by these names, to reach Him subhanahu wa ta'ala by these names. So, knowing the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is knowing how to address Allah, is understanding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, understanding your Lord. A lot of people are not really aware of who is Allah. We will never be able to worship Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll never be able to understand Him as He wants us to know Him without, understanding His introduction to Himself to us. He introduced Himself to us throughout His names that He mentioned in the Quran and His Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the Sunnah. He said subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. Belongs to Allah, the beautiful names. So call Him thereby. Do we call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His names? One of the adab, Nabi ﷺ taught us, one of the manners of dua is to know how to access, is to know how to, reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before you make the dua, you praise Allah. Oh Allah. If you are weak, for example, oh Allah, you are the strong, the most strong. I'm weak. Oh Allah, strengthen me, support me. So you know how to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you praise Him. You're not going to do so if you do not know and understand the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, we have names, Asma and Sifat. Asma Allah, the names of Allah, and there are also Sifat Allah Azza wa Jalla, or the features, attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the difference? Anybody knows? The name is something that refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and refers to His features as well. So if you say, for example, He is one of the names, give me any of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Ar-Rahman.
Ar-Rahman. What does it mean?
Merciful.
The merciful, the gracious. So that refers to Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, to His essence, His name being Ar-Rahman, and refers specifically to one feature, one attribute, which is mercy. As-Sifa, the attribute itself, is mercy. Not necessarily referring to Him, because mercy can be attributed to me, or you, or anybody else, talking about mercy in general. But mercy, as far as, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is going to be definitely different. So al-ism, the name, is what refers to Himself, to His substance, and His attribute as well, this specific attribute, sifa. As-sifa is just like a general attribute that is either attributed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or to anybody else. So, names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we know them, we know how to call Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, when we call in Him, when we are connected with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we remember Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. Indeed, with dhikrullah, remembrance of Allah. How do you remember Allah? How would you mention Allah? You would remember Him His own way. Problem, by the way, a lot of people calling on God, Krishna, whatever it is, they call on Him. They know the superpower. They know that there's power over them. Christians worship the same Lord that we worship. That's what Allah says in the Quran. وَإِلَهُنَا وَإِلَهُكُمْ وَاحِدٌ. Our Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to us Muslims, when we address them, we should tell them that, highlight the commonalities. Our Lord and your Lord is the same, is one. So they worship the same Lord, but the problem is they worship Him their own way. They customize a certain way to worship Him. No, we don't do that. We worship Him His own way. We go by His own will. So, when you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you mention Him, when you worship Him His own way, you should get this reassurance, peace, tranquility of heart. If you're not getting this from your ibadah, from your dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there is a problem. You didn't do it the right way. But if you truly pray and mention, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would involve and encompass anything, any ibadah, any act of worship, anything that you do for His sake, subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He approves of, subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do it this way, and then you feel some kind of peace, tranquility in heart, then you have done it right. Because Allah said in the Quran, those who believe, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and whose hearts find satisfaction in the remembrance of Allah, for without doubt, in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts find satisfaction. So let's inshallah practice this or activate it. We do it. A lot of things we do, unfortunately, we do mechanically. We want to start doing things like really we mean it. And we activate the prayers, the dhikr Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our hearts. Well, the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are 99. We know this for sure. So many hadith are, like hadith Abu Hurairah narrated, that the Prophet said, the names of Allah are 99, 100 but one. Man ahsaha dakhala al-jannah. Whoever, the verb ahsa is not easy to translate. Whoever collects them, whoever knows them, memorizes them, understands them, comprehends them, all of that together, dakhala al-jannah. He will enter al-jannah, paradise. But in one hadith, in Jami' al-Tirmidhi, the collection of the hadith by Imam al-Tirmidhi, specifically he mentioned this formula, this part of the hadith that I mentioned, the total number of names of Allah are 99, but then he gave them in detail. Even though the hadith is not like the strongest, the most authentic, but that becomes very famous amongst Muslims, and these are the 99 names that people from very old time, have been adopting them and working in them, and it's anyway attributed to the Prophet ﷺ. So these are the 99 names we'll be talking about them. Let's start inshallah without wasting any time. The first of all the names is Allah. Allah. And this is the greatest name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That simply means He is the one that self-existing. Me and you, we exist. The world exists. Everything that we see exists. But our existence needs Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to exist. We depend on other things to exist. With no air, with no food, with so many factors for us to exist. Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't need nothing. He exists by Himself. He is an independent being. This is the very meaning of Him. He deserves all the divine characteristics. Because we have some people who claim to be gods. Pharaoh told his people, he said, I am your Lord, the highest. But does he really deserve to be Lord? No. He doesn't have, because he needs to eat and drink and go to the bathroom. His existence is subservient to so many other things. He needs other, depend on other factors to exist. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He deserves all the divine characteristics. He exists with no need for nothing, to support Him. None but Him can qualify to be called Allah. Somebody might be qualified to be called Ar-Rahim or merciful. He's merciful. He's compassionate. He's, he can share. Definitely part of the meaning of the name, like other names, the merciful, the compassionate, the knowledgeable. But nobody deserves to be called Allah. Even if somebody calls himself Allah or something, but really nobody deserves, nobody qualifies. That's very unique for him. Because the very meaning of it is the one who deserves to be God. None deserves to be God except him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a lot of scholars said this is Ismullah al-A'lam. This is the greatest name of Allah because of those reasons. You will see inshallah some references to some verses where some of these names are mentioned. Next is Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, the next two names, are definitely referring to Rahman, which means mercy. The Ar-Rahman means, or can be translated as the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. Ar-Rahim is the merciful. So these two names refer to mercy in general. If there is mercy, talking about mercy, there will be somebody who will show mercy and somebody who receives mercy or deserves to be shown mercy. Well, nobody will be called Rahman, specifically talking about Rahman, except if you have these requirements. You might, without knowing, you might show mercy to somebody, who deserved to be shown mercy, but you did not even mean it. You did not mean. I don't have any example in mind, but just by you doing anything, you have done a favor to somebody else. You have shown mercy to somebody else, but there was no intention from you to do so. That disqualifies you from being called merciful because you didn't mean it. You didn't intend to show mercy. So there should be intention in showing mercy. Intention but no capability. Somebody might, feel like sympathize or feel that you feel bad for somebody else, but you cannot change the situation. You cannot do anything. You will not qualify to be called merciful. Even if you feel bad, you feel sorry for some other people who deserve it, but you are not able to do. Or you are able to do it, but you refrain. You are able to show mercy to some people who deserve to be shown mercy, but you do not do it. You do not qualify. Then the next step is, maybe whether you are able to change the situation or not, but you sympathize with somebody else. Sympathy when you feel bad for others or so, that's not going to do anything for them, even though you might be called merciful, partially called merciful, but to deserve the full meaning of Rahmah, of merciful, or Rahman is not going to be only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not going to be for anybody else. It's only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To show it intentionally to somebody who deserves or do not deserve to be shown mercy. To everything, to everybody, this is the meaning of Ar-Rahman. Believers or non-believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful to them. In this, one of the aspects of mercy, for example, that He shows to non-believers, is that He do not punish them right away. He is giving them a delay. That's easy. They might change their mind. They might come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is just one way of understanding it. He shows it for those who deserve and those who do not deserve. Some people are arrogant, some people do not deserve mercy right now for what they are doing, but Allah shows it for all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows His mercy for all subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why He's called Ar-Rahman. So that has to do with the general aspect of mercy. He is merciful to all, regardless. The next one is Ar-Rahim. That's kind of a specific mercy. The specific mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes to the believers. وَكَانَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَحِيمًا. He shows mercy, this kind of mercy, as Rahim, as merciful only to the believers. That happened only to the believers. He is merciful to all, but yet the special people, He shows them special mercy subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now comes a question to my mind, or to our mind. Why we still see people who are sick, people who are suffering, people who are, they have to be shown mercy. We feel what happened? Allah is merciful. Allah is Rahman, all merciful. Why doesn't He show them mercy? Well, it's just like, to help us understand it, it's just like a surgery. Not everything that we see with our eyes is really evil. Or not everything that we think is evil, it is necessarily evil. So, a surgery, for example, if you have, a child that needs a surgery, and then The mother might be, if she's so compassionate, so she might say no. She might say that no, I don't want him to do this kind of surgery. She's afraid for the, for the son or daughter, for the child. But the father, he knows that it's going to have some pain, but he has to do the surgery. You cannot say the mother is merciful in this case, because she doesn't understand, she doesn't have the big picture of everything. Yes, there are some pain going on, but it's for bigger purpose. That can help us understand. Because so many, how would you know who is good and who is bad? Who deserves to lead or deserve to stay or deserve to continue and who does not? If we don't have wars, if we don't have all of that. Do we do? Just we think we're going to make equal the Muslims and non-Muslims, the criminals and the good? There should be some tests so people will, separate from one another. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing everybody mercy and everybody is good like angels with them living, not having any evil intentions or any evil things, the very purpose of life is not there anymore. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His wisdom, dictates and decides that the world will go certain how. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will see who will follow Him and who will follow, others. But to understand the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's mentioned in the hadith that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created mercy, He divided it into 100 pieces, 100 parts. Into 100 parts. Where He sent down to earth, how many? One part, that's correct. He sends down to earth, subhanahu wa ta'ala, only one share, one part of mercy. And in this part, it's not only for humans, it's for humans and animals and everything that can show mercy, sharing in this part. The hadith mentions so much so that a mother of the animals would, raise her hoof not to hurt her calf or cow or something. So this mercy, everybody shares in it. Me and you and anybody who has mercy. All the mercy that we see in the world, even animals, that's because of one share of mercy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down to earth. Then He keeps subhanahu wa ta'ala for Himself 99 parts of the mercy that He will show the believers in the day of judgment. Allah is merciful to all. He's still providing for non-believers. He's still, even though the people who refuses Him, the people who refuse Him, the people who oppose Him, the people who, atheists for example, they don't believe in God, people who even insult Him, He still take care of them as they sleep. Who's taking care of their heart beating while they're sleeping? Who is giving them, blood circulation and all the process in their body that's working, and who's giving them food, who's giving them air, who's giving them life? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of His mercy. General mercy for all. This is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Al-Malik. The very meaning of it can be translated as the king, the sovereign, Lord. Al-Malik means, it comes down to, He is in need for none, for no one. He is in no need for no one. And all is in need for Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the very meaning of the king. Now we have some kings here. It looks like they don't need anything, or they don't need anybody. But actually, if you look deep into things, they need the cook to cook for them. They need the air to smell. They need everything. They cannot just go with no need for nothing. They cannot. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the king over all with no need for no one. So if all the creation other than Him did not exist, He is still Lord, He is still merciful, He is still everything subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He was already, before He creates all the creation, He was having all of His characteristics. That's the very meaning of the king. Let's go quicker so we can cover as many names as possible. The next name is Al-Quddus. Al-Quddus can be translated as the most holy, the all pure, the most holy. That's a repetition in here, sorry. So Al-Quddus, that means He is beyond recognition. You cannot recognize Him. He is beyond imagination. You cannot even imagine Him. Whatever you imagine, كل in Arabic, كل ما خطر ببالك فالله بخلاف ذلك. Whatever comes to your mind, Allah is otherwise. You can never, there is no way you can imagine His that subhanahu wa ta'ala, Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, His substance, His essence subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever you can recognize or imagine, Allah is otherwise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is different. Because He said in the Quran, لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار. No sight can recognize Him. And He is, even though He is subhanahu wa ta'ala, يدرك الأبصار. He recognizes and He knows all the eyesight. He knows everything. But not, we cannot see Him. One of the meanings also is pure. He is pure from any deficiency. Well, some scholars do not believe that this is a right meaning, or it should be one of the meanings for any of the names of Allah. By the way, so many names will be interconnected. They will have similarities in between. Why? Why do you don't think that Allah being free from defects, free from deficiency, shouldn't be one of the names of Allah? Should be one, because they say, when you say He is not a thief, for example, so you are saying He doesn't have this deficiency of, greed to look at other. That's not necessarily, you're not necessarily praising Him. He is just still neutral. Doesn't mean He is not a thief, so He is, good, or He shouldn't be a thief anyway. So when you say Allah is pure from any deficiency, well, that means neutral. You didn't say anything negative, but you didn't say anything positive either. So it can be understood this way. But Al-Quddus means that He is beyond recognition. He is far above everything, above even recognition and imagination. As-Salam. We know in Arabic that Salam means peace, but actually the meaning of As-Salam, as far as the translation I give, all the meanings of the word, how it can be translated. The all-peaceful, the bestower of peace, the flawless, the author of safety. The very meaning of this, according to many scholars, is He is free from deficiency, salim, free from evil. We still believe that He is the creator of evil and goodness. But He did not create evil for itself, for evil. He did not create evil, like lying, for example, or killing, or whatever He created, subhanahu wa ta'ala, for itself to be, the goal in itself. No. He created it to know who will kill, to know who will die, or to make clear, because He knows everything, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He did not create evil for itself. Just like you create gun or something and then it's being misused. That's definitely not your problem, that's the problem of somebody who abused it. As-Salam is the one who is free from any deficiency. That's the very meaning of it. Al-Mu'min, the next name. Al-Mu'min, the grantor of security, the giver of faith. Al-Mu'min, as me and you, that's the believer. But as far as dealing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's from Mim, Man. Alif and Mim and Nun, the very stem, the root of the word. That means it has to do with faith, it has to do with security. When you talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's mainly about safety and security, the providers of security. All security comes from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. How you feel secure? You're talking about an army, for example, to defend your country, so it will be, or police. You need power. What gives you security is this power that you are able to deter others from attacking you. All powers are from Him. So He is the giver of security. Intelligence. You are intelligent enough so you are able to avoid what's bad and you give yourself some security. Who gives you intelligence? Who gives you that? It's from Allah. So if you trace any of the reasons of security for anybody, for any country, for anything, why people feel secure, it's going to come down to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the giver of security. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, maybe I'm going very fast and I was planning to share with you how do we implement this in our life. That's very important. Well, at so many times we feel this kind of fear or insecure in our life. Insecure because of anything. Now this is time to turn to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can make you feel secure in the face of any challenge, in the face of anything, whatever you are afraid of. Turn to Him and call Him by His name. Anta al-Mu'min, you are the Mu'min. You are the giver of security and peace. Oh Allah, give me security and peace. Wallahi, Allah responds. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ. قال ربكم ادعوني استجب لكم. Your Lord said, call me, I respond to you. وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب. If my slaves, servants ask you about me, he didn't even say tell them. He said, I am near. I am near. So it's calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by these beautiful names. Al-Muhaymin. The next name, Al-Muhaymin, comes down to the meaning of the protector, the guardian, or the safeguarder. Al-Muhaymin refers to dominance, somebody who dominates, who supervises, and who has the power to do so. So you should have the knowledge of because if you have even a big country and sovereign country and everything is strong, yet still some people sneak in the United States, they cross the border. Yes, they get a lot of them, but still some people crossing the border. Some people, well, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is Muhaymin. Nothing can escape Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the very meaning of it. He has the full control. That means He has the full knowledge of everything, full power, full, He can control anything fully because He understands and He knows subhanahu wa ta'ala everything. That's the meaning of Al-Muhaymin. Now coming to Al-Aziz. The name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Aziz, can be translated as the mighty, the victorious, the incomparable. Al-Aziz subhanahu wa ta'ala. The last one, the last translation is actually the most accurate, or refers to the accurate meaning of Al-Aziz subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Aziz is somebody who is, number one, rare. It's rare to find. Something like gold, something like the sun, for example, is just one of a kind. So it's rare to find. It is not easy to reach. It's not easy to get the gold, for example. It's not easy to, get to the sun. So He is rare, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is not easy to comprehend or understand or see, for example. Not easy to do so. That, if you talk about the sun, for example, yes, that's correct. But Allah can create another sun. So it's being scarce or rare, not because it's something in itself. No, another sun can be created. We do have bigger stars other than the sun, for example. But as far as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is nothing that can exist but Him. Nobody can reach Him subhanahu wa ta'ala as far as not reaching in the sense of worshipping, talking. No, but can get to Him, can see Him, can fully understand His essence subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having all of these combined, that would refer to Al-Aziz. Al-Aziz subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Jabbar, the subduer, the comforter from Jabara, the irresistible. Al-Jabbar is the one who is, compels His will. He is able to enforce His will. You might find somebody very strong, but there could be somebody who's stronger than him. Or very strong, but not able to execute His will the way He wants, exactly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is able to do so. He is able to, you're talking about the strongest of countries, the strongest of people, He is able to enforce and execute His will, subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the meaning of Al-Jabbar. Al-Mutakabbir. Al-Mutakabbir comes down to the meaning of kibr or arrogance or pride. Well, that's for us, for me and you, that's a negative feature or a characteristic to have. Talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it means, the one that looks at others, just like king look at the slaves, for example. He looks at himself as being the high, and everybody's under him. He looks at himself as being the king, and everybody is under him, is in need for him. For him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, for us, we know in the hadith that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا يدخل أو لن يدخل الجنة من كان في قلبه مثقال ذرة من كبر. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you have the weight of an atom of arrogance in your heart, you're not going to make it to Jannah. That's very, a negative thing to have. Why? Because you do not deserve to. Why are you arrogant? You arrogant because of your money? Who gave you the money? Because of your family? Who gave you the family? You don't have any reason to be arrogant. You are created min ma'in mahin, from mean liquid. And you will be, at the end of your life, you will come down to earth. You're not going to be able to smell even the body after a couple of days. Why do you be arrogant? So you begin and you end in a very mahin way, very mean way, very, detestable way. How we come to life and how we, live the life. Even some scholars said, يعني أنت من نطفة قذرة. You are created from a very, mean liquid or something that smells bad. And then when you die, you are eaten by the worms and your body turns to a very detestable smell. وأنت بين ذلك تحمل العذرة. And you are between that, between your birth and death, you carry inside you, sorry to say, that's the reality. What do we carry inside our intestines? We have faces inside us. Inside us. When they come outside, we'll not even smell them. Why are you arrogant? Arrogant for what? Arrogant for nothing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserved to have this. المتكبر له الكبرياء. That's why he said in the hadith, الكبرياء ردائي. Kibriya or arrogance. This is like, not talking physically, this is my clothes, this is my cover, this is my cloak. وَالْعَظُمَةُ إِذَارِ, and greatness, like a rida is the upper part, the top of the body, like a shirt or something. وَالْإِزَارِ is whatever covers the lower part of the body. So Allah saying arrogance and pride is my, shirt. And وَالْعَظُمَةُ إِزَارِ, and greatness is, also my cover, or the thing that covers the lower body. Again, not talking physically. I mean, that's my, dominance. That's for me. فَمَنْ نَازَعَنِي شَيْئًا فِيهِمَا, whoever competes with me as far as these two, I will throw him to the hellfire. So, my brother, my sister, we have, it's against Islam. Islam means submission. Submit your heart, submit your jawar or faculties to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The minute you grow arrogant, that's against Islam. This is the meaning of al-mutakabbir subhanahu wa ta'ala. He deserves to, because he has all the characteristics subhanahu wa ta'ala to be above all and to look down at everybody under him. Now, Al-Khaliq, the creator. Well, the next three names will have to do with each other. So we have to take them together. Al-Khaliq, the creator. Al-Bari, the maker, or the maker of perfect harmony, or the maker from nothing. All of these are meanings of Al-Bari. So the first one was Al-Khaliq, the creator, the maker. The bestower of form, or the fashioner, or the shaper, Al-Musawwir. Al-Khaliq, Al-Bari, Al-Musawwir. To understand these three names, it's like a building. In order to make a building, what do you need? Just need somebody to give me a brief. What do you need? So you get the building, the process of making a building from beginning to end. You need
materials,
bricks,
land, foundation,
before all. You have all of that. You have all of that. I mean the process of putting it together.
You need a building site.
You need a plan, number one, design. Well, you have everything, the cement and everything. You need to have a design. Go to an engineer, and he will design a building for you. That's number one. Number two, we got the permit. We got everything.
The means
But
to do
the
it.
plan needs to be executed. You need a contractor, right? You need somebody who comes and takes the plan and then put it into practice. Execute the plan. Number three, the contractor is not going to do everything. You need the final touch for your house, for example, talking about the house. You need to have your own touches in your house. Even if the best company, builds your house, but you still need to do some landscaping, whatever, your own way, your own touch, right? That's exactly Al-Khaliq, Al-Bari, Al-Musawwir. Al-Khaliq means the one who proportions, the one who plans. So before he brings us to life, it's not like a mechanical way that Allah, your father and mother, they come together and then, you get it like a pregnancy. It's not like a machine. It's not like, that's why we are all, me and you and all humans, we are compound of the same thing. The same collection, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, everything. But look at our faces here, for example. Very different. Very different. Even though it's the same thing. The Japanese would look different from the Arab, from the American, from the Indo-Pakistan. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the plan to create. Allah planned us, planned everything actually. The creation of the samawat wal ard, that was planned 50,000 years before the creation of the samawat wal ard. Before the actual execution of it, bringing it to existence. 50,000 years before. And this plan was written somewhere. We all know, right? Where is it? Lawh al-Mahfuz, the preserved tablet. It's in there. Everything is recorded down. Whatever is going to happen, whatever is going to be created, all the actions, everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala planned it. How you would look like, how long you would live. The Quran is there. Everything. It's in there to Lawh al-Mahfuz, right? In this preserved tablet. Then, it was there forever. Talking about myself until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides for me to come to this existence. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala executed the plan that Amr will be born in this year. So, it has been executed. That's Al-Bari. So Al-Khaliq is the one who put the plan. And Al-Bari is the one who executes the plan just as he did it. You might have some problems, the contractors, the builders might not follow the design 100%. They do it with a cheap material or anything, or not exactly as it was designed. No. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Bari, that means He will execute and He's able to bring to existence what He planned for exactly. Exactly, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Musawwir, from tasweer, from surah, picture. The one who gives you picture. What does this mean? The final touch. Yes, probably when we are born, we're still different from each other, even how we look, but most of the kids, they would look very similar to one another. They didn't take the final shape yet. Then you grow up, you take your shape, you take your characteristics, whether you are hyper or not, white, whatever it is, that's the final shape. The final shape of your, even as we're growing up, we take final certain shapes, and as we grow older and older. So the one who creates, the one who put the plan from the beginning, Al-Khaliq. The one who executes the plan is Al-Bari, subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who gives us the final touch or the shape at the end is Al-Musawwir. That's the meaning of Al-Khaliq, Al-Bari, Al-Musawwir. Any idea, if you're following with me, how many names we've covered so far?
14.
14? No, it's not in the beginning. Al-Ghaffar, the forgiver, the one who forgives, or the absolver, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Ghaffar, the very meaning of it, or the root of the meaning, Ghafara in Arabic, is very close even to the meaning of English, is to cover. Ghafara, cover. Central tawqir, it means that He covers, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, Ghaffar is the one who covers the sins, or covers anything that needs to be covered. Again, He covered, if you look inside us, He covered the blood and the bones and very, things that if we were inside out or something would look very, awful. No, He covers all of that, and He gives you a very beautiful shape. He covers, you do sins, we do sins. We think of very bad stuff. He covers this. If people would know what I am thinking of all the time, nobody would like to even go with me, would talk to me. And the same for you, same for everybody, because a lot of ideas and very bad things, good and bad, but very bad things cover across our minds. Really. So Allah covers all of that. And by the way, He doesn't even hold you responsible. That's only for Muslims. Prophet ﷺ said, Inna Allah tajawaz li ummati. Allah forgives my ummah, or let go, or tolerated my ummah. Ma haddathat bihi nafsaha. Whatever they talk to themselves, whatever crosses their mind. Ma lam ta'mal aw takallam. As long as they do not act on it. Or talk. So as long as you do not talk, or you do not act based on the assumption or the ideas in your mind or whatever, that's groundless, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives you. You let it go. But the problem is when you keep it coming back and forth, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade us from al-dhann in the groundless assumptions that you keep, thinking about them, and then they will turn from an assumption to an idea, from an idea to a perception, from a perception to whatever, that you will act or work on. So al-Ghaffar is the one who covers all of that. He just shows people how you are good, how you are beautiful, he covers your sin. Then, that's after making the sin. And then not only cover it, if you ask forgiveness, it's as if nothing happened. He covered this, he wiped it away, subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is al-Ghaffar. Al-Qahhar, the subduer, the dominant, the crusher. He is able and capable to crush his enemies at any time. At any time that he decides, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody can escape his grip, subhanahu wa ta'ala. We look at what he did with the previous nations, for example. He sent them messengers, but then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided, it was over for them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, for the people of Lut, because of the very, bad sin that they were involved in, the homosexuality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them very, bad punishment. That Jibreel cried on them, and then they turned to stones. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Jibreel to take the entire village up to the sky and then turn it upside down. And not only this, and even to crush it and hit it down. Until it becomes nowadays around the Palestine borders. This is where the Dead Sea is. According to the geologians, it's the lowest area, the lowest part on earth. That's because of... So Allah is able to crush his enemies, to strike his enemies. Nothing can be hard for him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Wahhab. Al-Wahhab is the one who, the giver, the bestower, the all-giving, the benefactor, the one who gives hiba, like a gift, without expecting anything back, or without having any plan or agenda. You might give, but you give because you expect, something good to come back to you. Or, you give, a gift or something, it's going to be like a bride that you want to push towards a certain thing to happen. Well, Allah gives with nothing of these. He gives to those who deserve, those who do not deserve. He doesn't, his ni'am, we are drowned in his ni'am, subhanahu wa ta'ala, his blessings, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so, he said, if you count one ni'mah, one blessing of Allah, the dimensions of one blessing of Allah, you will not be able to count it. That's the meaning of Al-Wahhab. Wahhab, ala wazn fa'al, like he gives gifts too much, very often. Not just give one time, no, all the time he's giving. Countless. Ar-Razzaq, the provider, the giver of rizq, subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sustainer. He gives rizq. That means, the very meaning of Ar-Razzaq, because you give your children, for example, they are completely dependent on you. He creates from nothing. He creates the rizq, the provision. And he creates the receiver of the provision, al-murtaziq. And he makes, that is, reaches the one who received it, the receiver of rizq. So, these three combined means Ar-Razzaq. He is the one who creates, that is, the provision, what to give. And he is the one who creates who will give, and then he is able to make what he provides reach those who receive it. Clear enough now? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates the rizq, and creates those who deserve the rizq, and then he gives the rizq to those who receive it, and then even make them able to enjoy it. Make them able to use it. You might give something to somebody just to get rid of it. You might give something to somebody, but it's not usable. You might give something to somebody, but you give it to the wrong person, he's not going to use it. All of these, it's not going to be Razzaq. Razzaq is the one who you create, who will take the rizq. And you create the rizq, the provision that will go to him, and you make him, this person, receive it and enjoy it. Be able to use it. That is the very meaning of Razzaq. Al-Fattah, the next name is the opener. The one who opens. He opens anything that's closed. Sometimes you might keep thinking of certain, maybe a problem or something, a mathematical problem, but then it's not open yet, But then at a certain point, you get it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens it for you. Some people keep going around wondering, not knowing the truth. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens their heart for Islam. Open the heart of this Muslim for, being a better Muslim, coming closer, loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the opener. He's the one that opens subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's able to open anything that's closed. He opened the countries for his prophets at their times. He opened the hearts of people. He is the opener subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Alim. Al-Alim means the all-knowing, the omniscient subhanahu wa ta'ala. Will you please let me know when it's time because I'm not following? Al-Alim, the all-knowing, the omniscient subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, we can say somebody is knowledgeable. Okay. Somebody is knowledgeable, we can say he is alim or he is alim, he is a scientist, he is a knowledgeable person, right? But Al-Alim, talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he was not having this piece of information and then he acquires it. Like you were not to say ignorant, you didn't have the knowledge. Then you go to school, then you learn, you acquire knowledge. You get information. Allah is not alim because he got information. No, he created the information and he knows all the information. Alim, he could be alim in deen, religious scholar or something, but definitely he doesn't know geology. He doesn't know, mathematics, whatever. So he is jahil, ignorant as far as the other area. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows all the information. Nothing escapes his knowledge. And even as far as if you're talking about a specialist, he knows a doctor, physician or something. He doesn't know everything about, medicine. He just knows his field. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alim. Alim knows everything, all information. Nothing escapes his knowledge subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he did not acquire it. He did not acquire it like by practice or try and error. No. It just happened to him like this. He has been always alim from the very beginning, with no beginning either. With no beginning even. He was always alim subhanahu wa ta'ala and has been always like this. Al-Qabid. The next name is Al-Qabid, the withholder, the one who withholds, the constrictor, the restrainer. He gives Al-Qabid and Al-Basit. The next one as well is Al-Basit. That means the expander and the spreader. So both of them go together. يَقْبِضْ وَيَبْسُطْ. So he takes the life, for example, of this person. Some people are dying right now. Allah qabada ruhah. Allah took. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala withhold, took to him, restraint. That's the end of them. But then he gives life. At the same time, some people are bored right now. Some people are being given rizq. Some businesses are being, coming to an end right now. So it can be understood in so many ways. He gives subhanahu wa ta'ala, or spreads and opens, and he, withholds subhanahu wa ta'ala. Qabid, al-Basit. Same for the next two. Al-Khafid, al-Rafi'. Al-Khafid to make something low. The abaser, the one who lowers in rank. Some people used to be rich, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala they lose everything, they become poor. They used to have a position, then they, retire or lose the position. So Al-Khafid, the one who يَخْفُضُ الْكَافِرِينَ, those who do not believe in him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them low in rank in the day of judgment. يَرْفَعِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, the believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises. The next one is Al-Rafi'. So Al-Khafid, Al-Rafi'. He raises the ranks, the exalted, the raiser, and he is the one also that degrades and puts down. The next two as well, Al-Mu'izzu, Al-Mudhill. They go together. Al-Mu'izz, the bestower of honor, the one who gives honor, the honorer. Any honor, any izz is coming from him subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's coming from him. Al-Mudhill is the humiliator, the one who humiliates nations, people. It's him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is always Aziz subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the next one, As-Sami'. As-Sami' means the all-hearing. Again, the same thing. Many of these names we will probably, I don't want to say share with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we are hearing, we hear. But my hearing and your hearing, my side and your side is completely different from Allah. We need so many factors to be able to hear. You need an ear, for example. Without an ear, not only ear that's functioning and eardrum and everything, you need a lot of things to be together so you can hear. And you need to be on earth. If you go outside in the space, waves will not be able to go, you're not going to be able to hear. So you have so many, you need to have somebody who talks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears with nothing of these. We hear, but our hearing is limited. It depends on so many factors. We can hear up to what? Up to 1 mile, 2 miles, whatever. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears everything. All voices, all sounds at the same time. And He knows who is saying what and where is this coming from. He hears the sound of a small ant under a rock in a dark night that's just walking. He hears it. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do not hear. He hears subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, so the hearing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is complete. Same for the basir. And for all the sifat, subhanAllah, for all the characteristics. So هو السميع لا يعزب عن إدراكه مسموع. Nothing escapes. He hears everything. You know, if you have 5 people talking at the same time, خلاص, you lose. You cannot understand who is saying what. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Sami'a. يسمع everybody, يعني hears everybody and understands everybody and gets everybody subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without any machine or any tool to be able to see or hear. Al-Basir, the all-seeing, same thing. He sees everybody. Well, we see, but if we have a barrier like this, I do not see through the wall. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees everything. No barriers. You need to have an eye, for example. Allah doesn't have to have an eye. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't need a tool to be able to see. You need to have a light. Even if you have everything, but the light is off, you cannot see. You need to have this ray coming on the object and then reflecting on your eye, so you'll be able to see. Nothing of this applies to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He sees with no need for any of these things. Sami' al-Basir. Al-Hakam, He is the judge. That's one of the meanings actually. Hakam from hukm, which is judgment, and Hakam also means ahkama kulla shay. He makes everything precise. Hakim or Hakam is the one who makes everything precise. He creates everything in a very precise, perfect way. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. أحكم كل شيء يعني خلقه. He makes the sky, the sun, the moon so precise. Even the very concept of preciseness, time, for example, we just use what Allah created, so we be precise. The time, what's time, what's day, what's an hour, what's night, it's all based on the movement of Earth around itself and around the sun. So an Earth would rotate around itself, that's 1 day. Around the sun, that's 1 year. So we'll be able to calculate time and all precise things in our life just based on His creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He's so precise. Every planet or star has its own orbit and so on. That's the very meaning of the Al-Hakam, or the precise, or the judge, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Will we stop here, inshallah ta'ala? And we will have, I think, a quick break before we come back with the brother, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, we have questions at the end of the second session, so keep all the questions to that time. Jazakumullah khair.